This is to certify that Movie Chats has been classified for live streaming.
Hi guys, hope everybody's well. How are you doing? You'll notice I'm on my own tonight. Unfortunately, Big Steve's rang in sick, so he asked me if I wanted to sort of jump on. Hey Jeff, hey Elaine, hey Pat. He asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, you know what, I will do because we've missed a few recently. So I wanted to try and at least sort of make the effort to be here. So I hope everybody's well and looking forward to a bit of a chat tonight. Because I'm going to need the chat to keep me going, I think. Hope everybody's well. I've just read that Pat said she's got a bad cold, a bad cough. Sorry, I hope you get better soon, Pat. I know personally for myself, recently it's been difficult getting rid of the chest infections I had before Christmas. So yeah, I hope that clears up soon. Jeff, I hope you're well, mate. I hope it's nice over there. It's bloody freezing over here. It has been this week anyway. So this week I've been off last 4 days, so I'm back in work tomorrow. So I've been picking up a few bits here and there. I took little one to school this morning. And popped to one of the CEXs near his school because it was a movie I was after. So I picked up a couple of bits while I was there as well. So I'll quickly show you them. I've got some other stuff to show as well, but so I'd only gone in for one thing, which is typical really when I'm in CEX, unfortunately, but it's not one I tend to go to all the time. But I'd noticed they had, I've never seen it, but I noticed they had a movie called Love. It's by, I think it's directed by the guys of Angels and Airways, which, if I remember rightly, is the frontman for Blink 182. A friend of mine is a big Blink 182 fan. But it looked interesting. It's probably terrible, but there isn't many of them in CEX, so I picked that up. It was only a couple of quid. While I was in there, I found a HMV premium edition, which is The Haunting. Now, I've not seen this, but this has got a good casting. This has got Catherine Zeta-Jones, Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson, and Lily Taylor. So that's going for the collection. One that I've been keeping my eye on, which sort of had gone down in price recently. So I picked it up, which is Carlito's Way. Now, actually, I've never seen this, but this is a 4K Steelbook special edition, all singing, all dancing. So that's really nice. But yeah, I'd pick that up. It's got with cards and all sorts in there, but the case is nice. And Ip Man 3. So I have 1 and 2. I don't have number 4 yet. But so I picked those up. Didn't cost me a lot. But they were the ones that I'd only gone for the one movie. But, never mind. But how is everybody? There's 8 people in the chat so far. So please say hi. Just let me know you're there. Like I say, I did. I don't want it to come on and have a chat. I have put as a title about CEX and buying new movies. I'll go into that in a minute. I'll just see if anybody else is coming in. Hey to anybody who's not said hello already. But yeah, it's been bloody freezing. I've treated the household. We've had the heating on today, so it's nice and warm in my room. I think that was probably the main reason why, because I wanted to come in here and it'd be nice and warm. But yeah, a couple of things I've watched this week. We're back into watching Love Island again. We sort of watch it every season. It's just something that we sort of watch together, but not everybody's cup of tea. One What else have I watched? I've got a few movies to watch, which look pretty good. I watched last night. I watched the Invention of Lying again. I've not seen that in ages, but it was on Sky. So I sat there and watched that last night. It's quite an enjoyable movie, really. The fact that you've got everybody in the world that's just telling the truth, it is quite funny. I remember she goes on a date with him, and she's like, "I'm not remotely attracted to you," and it's quite good. But yeah, that's I watched that last night. What else have I seen this week? There's a few things, but I can't think off the top of my head what they were. Anyway, so yeah, so what I wanted to do is I did do a part of a video. So if you see a video come out is soon, you'll know it's part of it. Um, but I've because I like to buy my movies, and I like to try to get them relatively quick when they come out, as well as collecting some of the old stuff. Um, I'm finding that I'm buying movies that when they come out. I'm on a secret mission. How are you, Jeff? All right, fair enough. Um, I'm buying movies when they come out. Um, Usually because it's got a slip with it or something like that. But I'm buying them from sort of Morrison's or Asda, and obviously with their stock now starting to dwindle, like the rest of the world. Hey, Luke, where's Big Steve? He's Big Steve's called in sick tonight, so he asked me if I wanted to jump on or whether I was going to give it a miss, but I wanted to jump on. But I'll put a link out in a bit if anybody wants to have a chat, probably on the topic that I'm talking about. But yeah, so um, with the obviously in the US, there's a lot about the big supermarkets and the big places like that where they're sort of dwindling down their stock of physical media. Um, but obviously over here, I can see it. I go in there quite a lot to these different supermarkets in town, and I can see it. They're generally moving stuff about, and then it's like a little bit less in there. Um, and But I'm still picking up like the top 5 movies that are coming in, Jeff. Um, and not everything. Don't get me wrong. I'm not buying everything, but I'm paying sort of £15 for a Blu-ray, and it's sitting on my shelf because I'm not getting a chance to watch it straight away. And within a few weeks, it's the price is dropped dramatically in CEX. So as it stands at the minute, if I was to, I'll give you an example. So um, look at these two here. So I picked up The Creator this week. Now I've not seen it yet, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is something that I will watch this week because it's something that I'm really interested in. But I paid. I bought it from CEX this week, and it was 12 quid. You can see on there. Now ultimately, that's £3 cheaper than buying it from Morrison's, which is literally in the same shopping centre. Um, But the thing is that one of the ones I've kept an eye on for a while, and I never bothered to pick up, was Gran Turismo. Now, Gran Turismo cost me £8 this week when I picked it up, and it's still £15 in Morrison's, which again is across the way. Now, obviously, it's dependent on whether or not the stock is available, in CEX. But ultimately, even when you talk about a release that's out the same week, generally it seems to be um, sort of £3 cheaper. Now, I think the reason that they've done that is because if you've got to order it from CEX, it's £3 postage, so it would work out relatively, give or take a couple of pennies, the same price. Um, but I'm just sort of looking at it, thinking, is it worth me sort of hanging on 2-3 weeks down the line, and then picking it up from CEX at probably essentially what is maybe half price, because it tends to work where it goes from sort of 12 to 10 to 8 to 6 and so forth. Now I know a lot of it's dependent on the stock levels that they have in, so that might change. I think I went in today and the Exorcist Believer was 15 quid, so that's gone up, whereas it was £12 at the start of the week. But it sort of begs the question as to whether or not I hold on and not get these things. Hey, Lin, whether I get these things a few weeks down the line, 3, 4, 5 weeks down the line, and save a bit of money, I mean, I'm always going to go for the ones that I desperately want. You know, I'm not that tight, but it's just I'm having them where they're sitting on the shelf. You know, and by the time I come round to watch it, it's probably about 6 to 8 quid in CEX anyway. But that's my take on it. I'd like to hear other people's opinions, but I think for me, I think where I'm going to start looking now is sort of holding off for new releases, unless it's something that I think is going to be rare. Is holding off for new releases and just waiting until they drop down in CEX, because I'm literally wasting money by buying them brand new from Morrison's and Asda. And to be honest with you, that's not going to last very long, considering the way that the physical media is dwindling in there now, I think. But yeah, so let me just sort this out. But how is everyone anyway? I've got a few people in the chat that I've not spoke to. If anybody feels brave enough to pop on and say hey, don't just click the link. We'll have a chat. But otherwise, it's just going to be me waffling for a little bit. And then I don't know if I'll be able to last an hour and a half, but I'll give it a go. Obviously, with Steve not being here, it's a Transformers slash Halo slash Star Trek free night so far. Bless him. I hope he gets better soon. But yeah, so other than that, a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I picked up. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last week, but I picked up a documentary from Amazon, which is RoboDoc. Now, this for me, I'm a big fan of RoboCop. I have been for years. I don't really like the newer one that they brought out. I still need to buy the TV series, actually, just thinking about it. But yeah, this is a 4-part documentary. It cost me about £15, but it's on 2 discs. And the way that they've done it is, in fact, it's on here actually. It does say on there the different episode names, but you get like you get your 2 discs in there, and then you get some. I think you get a poster and some art cards, which is pretty cool. But they've really gone to town with this. You've got absolutely loads of extras on it, loads of different cast interviews. For anybody who's a fan of the movie, it's definitely worth a pick up, because it gives you so much information on it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that at the minute. I'm a couple of episodes into it. I'm hoping to sort of get through them over next week, I think, in between working. But yeah, anything else from anybody else at the minute? Let's see who's in the. Is there anything? Anybody want to talk about anything in the chat? Luke, if you want to pop on, mate, pop on for a bit. I keep missing Luke's, bless him. He keeps sending me out a link, and I keep missing him because I'm busy. I'm not ignoring you, mate. I promise. So the other thing I was thinking about was obviously for most people who know, I've been buying quite a lot on Whatnot recently, especially on a lot of our friends' channels, and it's filling up the room quite nicely. So I'm going to have to slow down a little bit, I think, on that. Which, as I have spoke to Chris and told him that I want to be buying less off him as well. But for all the rest of them, I'm not being funny. It's just I'm running out of room. I've now got pretty much most of my pops now are in the bedroom, which you can imagine Lou really really likes. So I've put them on the wall. Although I am blaming her for some of them, because she bought them for me as well. But yeah, I'm getting absolutely loads of figures, which is really cool, because I wanted stuff from when I was younger, like the wrestling figures, and there's a few others that I noticed the other day on eBay. But I'm trying to collect a lot of the 80s stuff, like the He-Man, and what else have I got up there? I've got a few Defenders of the Earth. There's some Terminator ones up there as well now that I've got, which are pretty cool. But between them and I just bought some T-shirts from Tamabel. Oh, bless him! Yeah, Tamabel's on tonight as well, aren't they? Oh yeah. Oh, I really wanted to see that as well, because I wanted to see what T-shirts he had. But bless him. I hope they do it. I hope he's having a really good time. They're such a great couple. Um, but yeah, and this is the thing. I've got so many t-shirts now. I'm gonna have to have a section of my wardrobe just purely on movie t-shirts and stuff like that. I mean, I've still got some. I've still got some down here to give you an example that I've took out of boxes and not put away yet. I've got like my Exorcist one. I didn't plan on showing t-shirts tonight, by the way, guys. This is just random. Got me Back to the Future one. I was having that all day long. I think I got that from Chris. What have I got? This one. Psycho. Which, to be fair, is quite a big one, but obviously I'm an Alfred Hitchcock fan, so I was having that. Hi, Steve. I generally add Blu-rays, etc., to my Amazon wish list. Keeping it, and this is the thing. I mean, I noticed. Thanks for that, Peter. I really appreciate you commenting, mate. This is the thing. So recently, I got none. See, I got none too from CEX, and again, that was reduced when I bought it. But I'm trying to collect the Conjuring universe at the minute, and I don't have a lot of them. Which reminds me, I should have picked up Conjuring 2 today. But yeah, I recently signed up to Zavi because I bought a few things off them a few months ago, so I keep getting emails from them. And I noticed there was like 3 steelbooks that were 50% off at the minute. Which one of them is what's it called? That's really going to annoy me now. Jesus, 1 second, because this is going to annoy me. I need to explain what it is. It was Wild Things. Hey Baz. Now I've got Silent Running on Steelbook 4K already. There's Snake Eyes and Wild Things. There's only 3 of them. Using the code STEEL50 on Zavi. And it's 50% off. So the Steelbook for Wild Things would work out about £12 odd. But I've already got like a special edition of it. I've still got like that special edition of it. So I'm not. I mean, this one isn't 4K as far as I'm aware, but I might have to upgrade. But yeah, I'm sort of the same. I put a lot of things. The Conjuring 7 movie collection on Blu-ray, £27. That's not bad. But the thing is, Peter, I've got I've got like chunks of them. And that's the thing for me, is that I've already got probably about 5 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them. Actually, probably about 4 of them. So I'll be paying £27 for 3. And the thing is that on the other ones, the trade-ins would be minimal, so it's not worth me doing. But yeah, so going back to the sale thing, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I mean, the thing is that I'm quite savvy when it comes to getting a deal on stuff. I mean, with CEX, a lot of the time, if it's an expensive thing, I'll probably try and trade in some stuff just to keep the cost down. So I never really, and that can be whether I'm visiting a charity shop and picking up some bits and flogging them in for trading, or whether it's building a couple of bits at home that I don't need. I won't tend to pay the full price on things unless it's like under £20. But the thing is that for me, I'm just. I think one of the things that's brought it on is I watched a video from AJ the other day, and he was going on about culling his collection. Now the thing is that I don't particularly want to get rid of any because I bought them for a reason, and to be honest with you, a lot of the value will be on the better ones that I want to keep anyway. So it's not really worth me doing, and I'm definitely not taking them to a charity shop. So whether or not I end up moving a few bits about and putting some in the loft again, or something like that, are the ones that I don't wouldn't generally go for all the time. Then I might do that. But the thing is that when it comes to buying these new ones, I'm looking at a few of them and I'm going, I picked that up day release. It's like the Barbie movie as an example. I know it's a decent movie. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I paid £15 on release for that. And within the space of a couple of weeks, I went into one of the charity shops, and not one of the charity shops, one of the CEXs, and it was at the time it was £10 for the 4K. I couldn't believe it, and I asked her if it was right, and she was like, yeah, it's right. Now, obviously, they work on their the amount of stock they've got as to what price to go for. But the other thing that I'm looking at is because Game has come out the other day and said that they're not going to be taking in trading anymore for games. I'm wondering if that's going to cause a spike in the prices from CEX. Now, whether that's just gaming or whether it's going to go across the board, you might find a price hike in there. Plus, if these stores, like the supermarkets, aren't going to be doing media for very long, are we going to start seeing price hikes in CX because of the rarity of getting these discs? But I like to think that I try and get the cheapest deal possible. So I do have things on save on Amazon, the same as you. Um, and I'm going to have to start learning to just wait a bit. I think that's the main thing for me. I haven't, no, mate. I'm going to have a gameplay of the channel. Just don't know what game yet. I recently picked up a Black Adam 4K Steelbook for 6. That's really good. I mean, I enjoy Black Adam. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best movie ever. But yeah, it was okay. If I had the chance to pick up a steelbook for £6 though, I would be doing the same, to be honest. Hey Matt, I hope you're well, buddy. So I took some DVDs and Blu-rays to CEX at the weekend. Yeah, and this is the thing, Peter, is that I've got a general attachment to these things. It's like take the Warriors. I've got the Warriors Ultimate Director's Cut, and I've obviously just got the 4K Arrow version. But it's not worth me taking in. It really isn't. I'm not gonna, especially now because obviously at the minute, if people have gone out and bought these 4K versions, then you're gonna find that they're gonna that there's gonna be loads of them going in. You can always tell when something's released because there's absolutely loads of them. What was it at the minute? It's like The Exorcist. The original Blu-ray version of The Exorcist, or what else has been released recently? There was something else, and people have just been taking in their old ones to CEX. Have you heard of Vision Quest series has been cancelled? No. Also, they are rewriting Daredevil Reborn again, and they are rewriting Blade. You see, the thing is that from what I understand about Blade, now I like Blade. I like the original movies, even three to be fair. Um, and it's from what I understand that this series or this movie or whatever it was they were doing, it seems to be more focused on, like, I want to say female leads as opposed to Blade himself, which I find bizarre because the Blade is the name of the program or the movie or whatever it is they're doing. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're rewriting stuff, but we'll see. Really, I'm surprised at that. Hey, Matt. I've watched Shazam: Fury of Gods earlier. I thought it was really good. I see. I like the first one. I've not. I got about halfway into the second one, and for whatever reason, I want to say I fell asleep or something. If I have heating on the house, it usually knocks me out. Um, I don't intentionally fall asleep. It's just what happens. But I've got a feeling I need to watch the rest of it. But I didn't think it was too bad from what I watched. Did you really, Luke? See, I've not. This is the thing with movies like this, is that I want to watch them myself and get my own opinion on it, because I don't know anybody that has the exact same movie tastes of what I do. Things that I find quite enjoyable, other people find corny and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I tend to. I do a bit of research into what people are saying. It's like the Exorcist believer. I've gone out and spent £12 or whatever on that, and I'll give it my own. Get my own opinion on it. But from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of negativity around it. But I'm not going to let it bother me too much. I bought Rise of the Foot Soldier's Vengeance as well last week, and it's one of those movies. I was saying in a video that I filmed that I know what these movies are. It's just sort of turn your brain off and enjoy it, sort of thing. And you know, it's got to be semi decent. The fact that these lasted what, like 6 movies now or something. Have we got 6 movies on them now? Why is the foot so just? Let me have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 movies. And I've enjoyed them. So what I'll do is with the Marvels is I'll give it a go. You know, and it'll probably go into my collection anyway if they are releasing it, aren't they? I saw it today on Amazon. But yeah, I'll see how we go with it. Sorry, push a button. Don't know what I pushed. What have you done, Pat? Hey, Dave. Is that the Almighty? Yeah, it is. Yeah, Dave. I'll show you. So I have a little collection of clothes in here, ironically, but I've got a few things. So I've got the Universal Studios. Chris picked this up for me last time they went because it's all the ones that I went on when I was younger. So he sent me a message asking me if I wanted to buy one. So he picked that up for me. I've got the Phantom of the Opera. I picked that up last year when me and my wife went to watch it in London, but I've been to see it before anyway. I have this one's quite a rare one. I got this from Car Boot Chris, which is a hoodie for Going the Distance, Rocky Balboa. I think it's some sort of fan group. So this is the 45th anniversary to 2021. Again, another little find that Chris put my way. Then I've got my Mighty Ducks Goldberg hockey top. Again, I bought it. I bought it off Chris. What else have I got? I've got my vintage Wallace and Gromit t-shirt. These aren't going in my the wrong trousers, and the Movie Twats t-shirt that Chris made for me and Steve, and my Harry Potter crew worn the original Harry Potter jacket. So they're the ones that I keep in here. I don't want them getting crushed in my wardrobe. Yeah, that's the reason why I've got clothes hung up in here. Just because they're my special ones, really. It's a torrent already. What's that? What's your view on GameStop? And this, I'm just saying this. Life in the fast lane. What are you doing on here? I don't know. We should block him, I reckon. I was just saying to the chat, Steve, that I think it's probably going to hike up the prices at CEX, and we'll see what happens. But whether it'll just hike up the prices of games, I'm not sure. More people going in there. He's only here for. He's literally he's here just to get some sympathy, guys. Please don't just give in to him. Well, what's wrong with his eyes? Well, to be honest with you, it's more what's wrong with Lana's eyes than his. You know. But hey guys. But yeah, he's only here for sympathy. So I can't come on. I can't say. You know. But no, I hope you're getting better, mate. You didn't message me back earlier on when I'd messaged you about it. But yeah, Lindsay and Alvin, cheers for joining us, guys. I will, if anybody fancies popping on, like I say, have a chat about anything. Just please just feel free. But yeah, I hope that answers your question there, Dave. That's my stuff in the background. But yeah, it is. So yeah, as I was saying, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this develops now, because I definitely seen a decline in physical media at the superstores of Asda and places like that. they tend to do. I think what they've tend to do now is like a top five, maybe. No, that's fine, guys. So trying to warm up. Yeah, and it has been cold. Hell, monkey's on. Um, I'll add you in now, mate. Hey,
Hi,
buddy. How you
how
doing?
you been?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Um, as far as what you were saying about the marbles, I really think that it's really, even though the I think it's the Disney store that has said that they are going to do a exclusive steelbook for it.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's needed. I mean, it's the one Marvel movie I'm not going to get because basically you could just get every Brie Larson album that she did before she became an actor.
Yeah.
And basically, that's what the Marvels is about. I mean, like all those songs she did kind of sum up the movie, and you could just pick them all up at stores. And it's because it's not really needed. I mean, like we talked about in the past, nothing really happens in it except introducing characters that
Yeah. I mean, but the
really
thing is
need
that you're going to find that there's always been certain movies within Marvel or DC that have been a setup for other characters. It's just, I mean, take one for example was obviously Batman versus Superman. It was literally an advert for the rest of the team coming in, should we say? And it is what it is. I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. If I go out and buy the Marvels tomorrow, I'm not going to rush out and buy Brie Larson's albums. That's not. I'm not remotely interested in whether she has a singing ability or not. It's more to do with the fact that I'm a completionist, and unfortunately, I like to have a collection that's complete. Um, Derek, please don't be like that. That's not nice. But yeah, it's for me. It's one of those things that it's like my Disney collection. I've got so many different Disney movies, and I've collected them over the years. And some of them I haven't even watched yet because I'm not massively remotely interested in watching them. They're probably for a particular group of audience, but because I collect the movies, that's why I have them. And it's a nightmare really because I don't particularly want all of these things. I'm just doing it because I want to make sure I've got the collection. Don't get me wrong. There's many things for me with, especially with Disney. I've loved Disney growing up. The animated movies, especially. There was quite a few decent movies that were, like the. I'm trying to think of a few now, but like the live action ones, definitely not the live action ones, but the sort of lower budget Disney movies that they brought out that weren't animated. Some of those were really good. But a lot of these now are sort of to push an agenda, and it's just horrible. I don't particularly care for it too much. But then there is some nice surprises, Um, so I will collect them because it's well, I say I'll collect them. And I think Disney are stopping physical media, aren't they? In some cases, so it might be difficult to do that, or that they're reverting on it, whichever way, whichever one they're doing. Um, so but when it comes to Marvel stuff, I probably fell out of love with Marvel about a year ago, 2 years ago. But I've still collected the things. Um, Steve, High School Musical is his favourite of all time. Yep, it's right up there, mate, with The Greatest Showman, which I know you're a fan of. So, no worries there. But anyway, so what have you watched? Anything decent this week?
uh, I was able to get one that I've been wanting for a long time. The This one that a certain actor is infamous for, and I actually prefer the one he's in rather than the original because in the original of what I'm going to show, they end up
Okay.
having a riddle. They end up having a riddle in the first one, and in the remake, they give you the answer to the riddle in the background scene of a certain actor and his and and the teacher
Yeah.
at the schoolhouse. That post, that
Yeah.
long post that has the ribbons on it, and it's the infamous "the bees, the bees."
Oh, the Wicker. Well, see, yes, the Wicker Man. Yes. One
But
second. Let me just. I'm going to just put this one on here because I keep I keep leaving Luke's posts up. Sorry, mate. Yes. So is that the DVD or the Blu-ray? The DVD of it.
this is the full screen version, and you may wonder what's so special about the full screen version. Well,
Yes. That's
the
what I'm wondering.
uh, the full screen version is the only one where you can see the that large post with those ribbons on it the
Yeah.
clearest, because since the picture zooms in, since it's since you know how when they cut off the left and the right, it focuses the screen forward and shows certain images clear when it
Okay.
focuses in, and
That's interesting.
it's the only way to see the post the clearest, which is the answer to the riddle in the original one. It's after the school teacher has let him talk to the students, and he
Yeah.
goes outside with her. Right in the background is that post with the ribbons
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
which is referenced in the first one, and it's the only way to see it clearly. And I and also it I mean, there's some films that are just so bad they're good that you just have to own. And in a
Yeah.
way,
I agree with you on
owning
that.
this is the best version that shows the answer to the riddle of the original. And I mean, when Nicolas
So
Cage was in uh, what was it, like, yeah, It May Happen to You or something like that, the one where he's a street cop.
oh yeah, yeah,
We only see him as a street cop in that one, but in this one we see him as sorry, in the one where he falls in love with a waitress.
yeah,
He We only see him as a beat cop, but in this one we see him as a kind of a trooper, like a road
yeah,
trooper or
yeah,
something. And
yeah,
I don't think he's been in a lot of films like that. And it's just, like in this one, he has like hallucinations, and it's just
yeah. See, I've got
it's,
the.
but I don't know. It just was really important for
So
me to
where
have the
where
best version that solves that riddle. Because don't
mm,
you agree? In the original, we never do get the answer to the riddle set, right?
yeah, I know what you mean. So where did you pick that? Where did you manage to pick that up from?
What?
Where did you manage to get it from? Because you said you managed to pick it up.
Yeah, it took a lot of searching, but I found somebody that was willing that was willing to sell it for a really
Oh, okay.
decent price. And I,
Well, that's
what?
good then.
Yeah, it took years. I've been looking for it ever since I saw the original, and then when I saw and then they got me to see the remake again, and then I was like,
Well, which
I
one do you?
see the answer. I see what?
Sorry, I was going to say
Oh,
which one do you prefer then?
I prefer the remake, because not only,
Really?
yeah, because,
Wow.
well, think of this. How many people really, I mean, we don't get the answer to the original, and we that, but we finally get the answer to the riddle of this in the remake. So it's like, for in my opinion, it's the one that that is most important, or should be most important to the diehard fans, because we
Yeah.
finally get an answer to the riddle that was only hinted at but
Yeah.
not answered.
So for me, I mean, the original, The Wicker Man, this one, the 1973 version, for me, um, it's one of those movies that is, how do I put it? It's an acquired taste, you know. There's a few movies that when I was younger I watched, and like for the first few times I watched it, I wondered what the hell was going on. And The Wicker Man, um, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and there was something else I watched, and those sort of movies that I watched them at stupid o'clock at night just absolutely fascinated me. Especially this the Christopher Lee Wicker Man. When they brought out the remake with Nicolas Cage in, um, I enjoy it. I mean, I've got it anyway, but I enjoy it. But it's not as good for me. I much prefer the first one. There's a lot more memes about the second one than there is, you know, of anything of the other one. But it just fascinated me because it's a mystery story of like where is this you know girl disappeared to. I mean, I think there's a few movies recently, especially that have tapped into the same sort of premise, like a mystery where someone's gone missing and it turns out to be something else. Just thinking what that was. I think Kill something or other. I'll have to remember what it was now, but there's one that's very similar that I watched recently.
Are you talking about the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
No, where is it? Where is it? Uh, Kill List. This is a
Oh,
very similar movie about a cult. But yeah, it's for me. It's one of those. They're both good, and I do. The thing that I'm torn with the second one or the remake, because the second one's called The Wicker Tree. With the remake is the fact that I'm a big fan of Nicolas Cage. You know, so the thing is, what you get with Nicolas Cage is no matter whether it's a B movie or it's a big budget movie, he puts 110% in. You know, and you can see
mhm.
that. Uh, it's hey Barry, don't be like that, please. It's one of those where I enjoy his performance, but obviously, I think probably because I know the story of the first one, the original, that it maybe took a bit of the shine off it. Maybe it could be something like that. Right. So Luke says he can't wait for Godzilla versus Kong or X Kong. The new Empire. The film looks good. Yeah, I've seen the trailers for it. It does look good. Do a video where I just talk about Disney. That would be pretty cool, mate. I appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you can, please, guys. That'd be fantastic. Um, have you seen the prices for these 4K steel books from Marvel? Yeah, and I've had One Division on the steelbook on order since September, and I think it's pushed back to March, April time now. But yeah, you're looking at a lot more special editions for the Disney stuff. Whether they're testing the waters just to see if there's a market for it, I don't know. I would like to get the Mandalorians and Loki, but I don't know if I'll be able to get them at this time. I might have to wait a little bit. But yeah, the average prices for these steelbooks, I said last week, they should be really around £30. I think 45 to £50 is well over the odds. Uh, you need a removal in the chat. No, it's fine. Honestly, it's fine. I want to make sure that obviously people can come on and be free to speak and everything. So,
Um,
um, but,
did you watch Echo?
no, I haven't. I was who was it? I think it might have been Luke that mentioned it and said that it wasn't really good. But I saw I want to say I saw a review. I saw something where they were saying that the first couple of episodes were good, but then after that it sort of tailed off a bit.
Well,
Um, go on.
I watched the whole thing in one go, and
Wow.
I must say it if you if you have some like if you can relate to it, it is
Yeah.
amazing. Like I watched it all in one go, and when I got done, it was like it's I. It's like it's like you get this feeling like, man, I'm good to be back home because it feels like you're just for 2 weeks in a town that's unfamiliar, but it just
Yeah.
was. I loved it. I did. I'll stand on a whole stairway and say I loved every single episode. I mean, it all comes down to what happened in your past and if you have something you can relate to it. And I could relate to every single episode. And I thought it was the best series for adults.
Really?
Like there's this one series that nobody talks about at all. It's called Mo- uh, Moon Girl, and it's a
Yeah.
Disney Marvel show, but no
Yeah.
one talks about it. That I feel is the perfect one for the kids to
Yeah.
watch for their for their to watch, have a
I know what you
teenage
mean. I know what you're trying to say. I know
Marvel
what
superhero that's like
you.
nowadays. It even has the voices of Morpheus and that uh, the lady that died in the that one show that everyone hates, the one with the scrolls.
Yeah.
She's in it, but so it
Okay.
had a really good voice cast in it.
Yeah.
But but the Echo I feel is it's just amazing for what it is. It's like don't get me wrong, not everybody likes every single Marvel movie or show, but I just feel I could relate to that one a bit more.
Yeah. No.
Like
I mean.
yes, people see it as more of a like a feminist and all that
Yeah.
sort of movie, but yes, it is. Echo sees that she is far better than everybody else, and the
Mm,
show just kind of echoes that. And yes, it goes into her culture. But if you remember Echo from when she was in Hawkeye, she's everyone knew she was that way. She cared about herself, her she followed her obsession, her goals. I
yeah.
mean, there's so much in Echo that just if you know, you know. But I will say, I guess I
I mean, I don't
unlike
mind.
Roadhouse,
Don't be
what?
spoiling it for me. That's Big Steve's job. But yeah, I'm. It's one of those where I will get round to it. I mean,
Oh,
recently I caught up with Loki, and I'd also finally got round to watching the second season of Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. I watched, and they're not. It's not for they're not for everybody. It's different people's preferences on things, and for me, the problem is that while still people are still watching it, they're still going to make these things, and you know, if you don't like it, then don't watch it really. But I would say the thing for me is with the Marvel stuff is it was what they lost me with is when you started having to watch TV programs to link in with movies because if you didn't watch the TV program, you'd have no idea.
yeah,
You know,
they didn't make it fair for anybody because it's like they almost said, "Hey, we know everybody got hooked on our programming in 28
yeah,
movies,
yeah,
but in order to continue this, you have to buy a streaming service
yeah,
just to
exactly.
continue it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Uh, I mean, the question is whether or not they go whole hog and go right. We're not releasing any physical media now. You're gonna have to sort of have the streaming sites. I mean, I I know recently I think I'd read somewhere that the WWE are not releasing any more home videos after a certain point, and that'll be ultimately to try and push the audience to go and sign up to the WWE network because a lot of these networks they're not doing as well as they did in COVID. When it was lockdown and all that sort of good stuff. These businesses got absolutely amplified the amount of people that were signing up to them because they were at home, not doing anything, wanting to sort of binge watch movies. That's sort of dwindling down now, and whether or not
Well,
whether or not it's another push to try and get people to do that, I don't know, because I think the thing is that there is still a market for physical media. I saw a video the other day where somebody had looked at, like, between, I don't know, let's say 5 years ago and now, the amount of DVD sales and Blu-ray sales and 4K sales, and it fluctuated. Some years were better than others, but it ultimately there was still a market for people buying them. But if they're forcing people over to these streaming services, there's gonna come a point where people are just gonna go, right, well, I'm not paying for this anymore. And then I think we might have sort of a resurgence, a bit like LPs and stuff like that. So you'll find that there'll be people that will be actively going out looking for DVDs, looking for any sort of physical media they can get their hands on because they want to. The other side is obviously censorship and stuff like that. So if I wanted to get a copy of, I wanted to watch, I don't know, let's say, I know it's controversial, but let's say Songs of the South. Um, you can only watch that on VHS because they never brought a DVD out, they never brought a Blu-ray out, you know. But if anything that's nowadays that they deem to be as inappropriate as that, they take off the streaming site. You sort of they then People are then going to have to find a physical version if they can, and all these people will have got rid of their physical media because they no longer need it, and minimalistic and all that jazz. And I think it will then hike the prices back up for the ones that are about. At least that's my thinking, anyway.
well, I think that after a while they will bring physical media back for the wrestling, but in a way of like they will offer like a steel book of all the
Mm.
best rock fights and all the best
Yeah,
this
I mean,
person
we
and
get
this
we
person,
sort of
and
get that
they'll
now, don't we? We don't get the
what?
steel book. We don't get the steel book per se, but we sort of get them now. Like your Undertaker's greatest matches, or Stone Cold, or Mick Foley, or anything like that. We do tend to get those sort of things now, but whether or not they'll release them, somewhere down the line again, I don't know. But as it stands, they are looking at culling the physical media side of it.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think they're going to re-release them in the form of a steelbook,
Yeah.
since they know there's a collector market for them.
So Luke says, I'm in this mood now where I'm thinking if Marvel will ever be good again because they're making crap movies and shows, just go back to. The problem is Luke, is that obviously you had big stars for these movies, and and then they were big characters. I mean, some of them weren't. Iron Man especially wasn't massively popular before Robert Downey Jr. got into it. But the thing is that I think for me, like, Endgame and Infinity War was like the pinnacle, how to make a superhero movie, Endgame especially. But where do you go from there? And I think that's probably where the issue is now, is that apart from a couple of sort of staples of the universe now, where you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, that sort of thing. It's very difficult for them to make a bad movie, I would imagine. But it does mean that sort of the lower echelons of the Marvel universe, nobody's interested in them because they're not, Captain America, they're not Iron Man, they're not that sort of character. So we'll see, but I think every so often we might get a decent one. I just think, for me, I would get rid of any sort of remaining TV shows, anything that you've got to watch to then enjoy a movie. I think we get rid of that, and just keep the movies, and maybe bring out two a year as an example. Because at the minute, I think we've reached a point where people are sort of sick of the genre. Like I said, there's a good couple that have come out and done well. But ultimately, we've been overloaded with them because all they've seen is money. You know, all
I I actually agree with you. I think what they could do is they could just take a break from Marvel, especially with the Kang fiasco, and just go back
yeah,
to giving us animated and drawn out films. And they could do that for like 10 years, 12 years, and then introduce us back into Marvel once they get things back together.
yeah,
I mean, how many years did it work?
yeah.
Just
Well,
releasing
it did, didn't it?
what?
Sorry, but how many years did it work? Did you say?
Oh, I was saying that it worked for a lot of years, them just giving us animated after animated after animated feature, and nobody had an issue. So they could go back to that. That worked for them for like what,
I mean,
50
the thing is
or
that you've
how
got
many years?
animated. You've got well, I say you've got animated movies. You've got movies like the Into the Spideyverse and stuff like that, which is not technically animated, but you get my gist. It's not live, is it? Um, and they're pretty good, but I say I just, for me, I wouldn't be disappointed if it was a year or so before another one came out. Dave said the problem with Marvel movies is that they've given us characters that no one cares about, and that's what we're saying. I mean, the thing is that having saying that though, Dave, how many of these how many of these people actually cared about the characters that were, Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. Jumped into that role. You know, I wouldn't have really give two monkeys if Iron Man was brought out. But then I watched the movie and enjoyed it, and obviously got on board. But they built up a story over a certain amount of years. It wasn't just a case of straight into a collaboration with all the others. They built up all the different stories. You know,
May I tell you may I tell you a way that they could have avoided all of this and all these shows that they came out with after Endgame?
yeah, go on.
They could have went from Endgame to giving us a prequel movie of the father Stark
Yeah,
instead of that Miss Carter show. Yes, Miss Carter is amazing. Yes, but they could have went from Endgame to showing us the beginnings of Howard Stark, and they could just go from that to who Howard Stark worked with, and we could have gotten a trilogy of films right there. You know,
yeah, yeah,
like they could have went into like maybe Howard found out what happened to Red Skull and how we got that way, and maybe he followed up and found out where Cap was before he died, and that's what got that squid symbol people to
yeah.
Hydra to want him to maybe he got too close to finding uh um the first Avenger,
Yeah.
and that could be what got them to decide to send their assassin after Howard and his wife. And they could have went down that route because, like, what if showed us there was still a lot of life if they went back into the 80s, or like, and showed us the Avengers from that decade. Like, what if the Avengers did that, and if they started back in the 80s with the original Ant-Man and all that. So
No, I know what you mean.
it yeah, so they but they could have went that route, and it would have been so similar to Iron Man
Yeah.
that we could have then been introduced to a young Ant-Man. We could have been introduced to a young Wakandan warrior, his father. Everybody would have loved, to get those stories. I mean, they could have we could have seen that even
mean,
like in the original. What?
no, go on, carry on. I'm listening.
Like, there's so much they could have went down. I mean, how many years of historical comics do we have that they could have drawn from?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, the thing is for me is that if we was to take a hiatus from Marvel and DC for a while, because I think the thing for me is that although there's plans for other things to come out, I think the nail in the coffin for DC recently. I think they've run their course, but with Marvel obviously still trucking along. But if we're going to take a break from that, what sort of genre would you want to see nowadays? What sort of thing do you think would be the next big thing?
Well, what I think is they should turn each like. Do you realize how many musicals we have had that started out as classic movies turned into musicals? They should just do what they did with Hamilton. Instead of giving us just shows that are basically the fumes of all our great, once great movies, just with woke agendas, they should just give us all our classic films done on like they have a Lion King musical.
Yeah,
They even have a Harry Potter musical. They could do just release on your service the musicals of our classic films, and we would watch it and give us a break from Marvel and DC. We're getting tired of them. I mean, if you were to go tell your childhood self that this has happened to Marvel and that you're getting tired of Marvel and
yeah.
DC, you would shock yourself. We don't want to be given this stuff that's making us feel this way about what everybody spent their allowances on, what they dreamed about, what they bought the comics and envisioned and
No,
doodled in their notepads.
I get that. But I mean, the thing is that like I said, we're at a point now where I don't see many of these conversations where anybody's saying we need more Marvel movies, we need more superhero movies. It's quite the opposite. Um, I think one of the reasons why The Boys as a TV program is so popular is because it's that genre, but with a twist. It's a different look at superheroes, and that yes, they can be assholes and evil and all those sort of
Uh,
things. And the thing is that for me, you know, I want to know, like, we've gone through every few years we go through a thing where it's like sci-fi movies are popular, then we get pirate movies are popular, then horror. I know horror is always popular, but generally, like Saw as an example, that set off a chain reaction of all these different sort of spin-offs of that sort of thing, and then we've had Blair Witch, paranormal activity, those sort of things. There was like a type of that genre. But for me, I think we're nearing the end of some of these. It's like the superheroes. I think in the next couple of years they might start slowing it down. And I'm just thinking, I'd like to see a bit more, maybe a bit more sci-fi.
well,
Or is it to maybe
imagine
regurgitate something else?
imagine this. Imagine if they had like a detective show where they try to investigate the what happened to the original Ant-Man's wife, and they had to like try to infiltrate Hydra or all that. They could do like a show about that, or they could have tried to. There's so many things in Marvel that they could just, instead of giving us bulk continuation films, they
Yeah,
could just have investigative, like detectives, take any of the watch any of the ones they could try to investigate, like like the um that clan that kidnapped Tony in the first one. They could do a detective show trying to get into that one. They could try to.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Steve's just said Agents of Shield type show. Yeah, possibly. You know, I
but
agree
only
with you.
from like. But I'm saying more the gritty. Like imagine it from the like a more of a like a not NCS, like a Law and Order version of it. Like trying to go through the legal channels while still like in the Civil War movie or Civil whatever it was. They tried to show us that they could handle things a different way. What
Yeah.
if they showed us them trying to handle
Yeah,
these mysteries
yeah.
that way? That'll be interesting.
So let's put it out there. So, um, anybody in the chat got any opinions on this? Because I'd like to know. I mean, I just, I'm the thing is for me, I don't really have a favorite genre. I'll watch whatever I'm in the mood for. You know, and I like to have a variety of things. I think one of the things that I'm swaying to quite a lot is, especially as I'm getting older, is things like true stories. You know, whether that be probably because I watch too many documentaries on Netflix or on Amazon and stuff like that. But you know, I'm quite into bio movies and stuff like that. You know, because I'm learning something about people that I'm generally interested in. But I'd like to see some more detective movies as well. I like Poirot, that sort of thing. So I'd like to see a bit more of them. I think the action movies have turned into a lot of it's turned into just CGI movies now. I think you could probably base that as what it's called, what I would like to call it. Um, you know, there's a lot of these high octane stunts that are done that you can tell a mile off. It's like CGI's gone backwards with the quality of them.
She-Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, well, She-Hulk's got cancelled on it. They're not doing a second series. I read that the other day. Uh,
Thank goodness.
yeah,
Um,
they've told her no. Luke's put. I think Daredevil Born Again will be crap as well. Very positive tonight, Luke, because they are rewriting the show and it's too big, massive. Instead of being 18 episodes, have maybe 6. Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest with you now with Daredevil. I like Daredevil as a character. I've always liked that, but I haven't. I've struggled to really get into the TV series. Now I know a lot of people have said to me, you know, stick it out and see how you get on. And I need to watch. I think the second series. But I more enjoyed things like The Punisher and those sort of TV programs at the time. Arrow, Flash, that sort of thing. But
well,
it's
in
just I don't really have too much input on the Daredevil, to be honest.
in Echo, they kind of showed us how Daredevil is going to go, and for anyone that hasn't seen it, I won't spoil it. But from the version we get of Daredevil in that show, it's kind of like it gave me a feeling of the like how this I won't say who wins, but it's basically just kung fu one liners and just eh, it it felt his version
Mm,
in Echo felt more like the 2003 version.
yeah, yeah.
So I I think Marvel's burning.
Yeah, but the thing is that because they're owned by Disney now, you're literally going to find that you know they will rinse it until there is absolutely nothing left. I mean, they have put obviously millions and millions and millions of dollars into having big areas in their parks and stuff like that. So it's not something that they're going to just scrap tomorrow. And there is a lot of good content when it comes to it. But I do think they need to slow down a little bit. Big Steve says Daredevil rewrites will be done to Echo and She-Hulk not getting a second series. Yeah, I'd read it the other day that that it wasn't, which I thought was quite interesting. But yeah, it's okay. It's it's interesting that I mean, I don't know. I didn't really get into She-Hulk. I know Steve watched it, and I think he enjoyed it. But yeah, I didn't really get into it. So for me, it's not. I'm not really lost out on anything by not watching that. Um, but yeah, so if anybody else has got any ideas in the chat, guys, what you think? I'd love to know what sort of genre people would like to see if it's not a superhero. I mean, the thing is that most of my room is covered in some sort of superhero thing. So Marvel, DC, multiple different Spider-Mans over there, which I know Luke will probably like. But I don't know. I think because it's been going on for what, 15, 20 years now? 15 years, maybe. We've had this stuff coming out. Yeah, that's. Let me know, guys, what you think in the chat. As to what you would like to see. So have you got any plans coming up for what you want to watch?
Well, I got a musical that I really do love, because what would you say, in your opinion, was your introduction to Tim Curry?
To what? Tim Curry?
Yeah.
What about him?
Well, I would think most people would think of their introduction was like Rocky Horror Picture Show, or the Fern Gully, or the
So what you're asking me is what was my introduction to Tim Curry?
yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, my introduction to Tim Curry was probably Clue. It might have been an earlier movie. In fact, to tell a lie, it was Home Alone 2 was my first, I think my first movie I saw with Tim Curry in.
Well,
go on. Have you ever seen this movie?
Yes, but there was one that came before that, and I'll put it on screen right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh.
Annie? Really?
Mm-hmm. He was in that one, and he sang the song Easy Street.
Nightly Lynn. Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I haven't picked up on that. I'm not sure. I mean, the thing is for me is that obviously, as I said earlier on, I've got Steve saying he'd like to see. Well, I'll just read these out first. I'd like to see more fantasy like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. I need a series of books called. I've read a series of books called Edge Chronicles when I was younger. This would make excellent. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Dave. I'd like to see a bit more of that fantasy, to be honest. Steve said point something like that. The point fantasy point. Yes, point horror. Yeah, they were massive when I was at school. I remember we picking them up from like the local bookstore. You could start the series of something. Yeah, that would be interesting. Actually, I'd like to see a point horror.
But not Goosebumps. They ruined Goosebumps.
No. Point horror was different. But yeah, so Dave says I first saw him in Muppets Treasure Island. I didn't see that until quite late on. It was also the first movie I ever saw at the cinemas. Wow. I still have tickets from the screen. No way, that's well cool, Dave. I remember my dad taking me to watch the Muppets Christmas Carol when I was younger. That was amazing at the cinemas. Yeah, Nightly Lynn. But yeah, for me, I mean, as I said to you before, I don't have a lot of people. There's not a lot of people that I speak to that have the same taste in movies that I do. Not all the time. And Rocky Horror Picture Show. One of the best stage shows I've ever seen when it comes to audience participation. But also one of the weirdest, most interesting movies I've ever watched. And he obviously owns that. It's all him. I say him, between him and Richard O'Brien. But
Well, I thought Meatloaf was pretty good in it too.
he was.
He
But
kind of stole the show.
you're talking 10 minutes of it, aren't you? Really? You know,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's he comes on and sings a song. That's what he does as a job. You know.
yeah, but I was saying in those 10 minutes, yes, Tim Curry is amazing. He's the best. Uh, he's the he's basically does most of the acting in the entire film. He's the most
Yeah.
on. He's the most
But
energetic.
it's such an odd movie. You know.
Yeah. With him, there's always so much anticipation.
Patient. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so for me, he's always been an actor that, you know, if he's in a movie, I'll definitely give him the time of day, because it's always an interesting. It's always going to be an interesting project if he's on it.
If I may speak about when they brought him in to record his lines in the movie Ferngully, The Last Rainforest,
Oh yeah, yeah.
they did a screening, and his part scared the children. They found
Really?
that he was too scary, and his lines were just too villainous and they scared the kids. So they brought
Wow.
him back and had him tone down his performances, because he can really be really really scary when he does his lines. I mean, do you remember when he first did the stage show? He did Frankenfurter in a German accent.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the thing is that, as I said to you, it's quite a bizarre concept, especially if, I think it started off as a stage show and then went on to a movie. But it's a really bizarre concept of a film. But I enjoy it, and like I say, that Clue is another one where he literally owns the stage, sort of thing. He's
Yeah.
just his energy on that is amazing. It's such a
I
shame.
always wished what
No, go on, carry on.
they. I always wished they would have filmed that other ending, the other ending where you find out that he had poisoned their drinks, and that he ends up locking them in the house, and when he gets into the car, the dogs
Mm.
are in the
Well, I mean,
car with him.
it does have alternate endings, though, doesn't it? You know, I mean,
Yes,
at
but
the
not
end of
that one.
yeah, at the end of it, he does have. I think it's maybe 3 or 4
Yes, but
endings. It could have ended this
he,
way, it could have ended that way, and it's such a weird movie, but it just works. And
yes, but that was one ending they did not do, and I thought that would have been interesting if they
mm.
would have done that ending as well.
You see, the thing is that for me, I speak to people now, and there's people that haven't seen that movie, you know, and I'm just shocked. I mean, you're talking that there's big names in it, you know. God, I'm trying to think now. You've got Christopher Lloyd being one of them, you know, but you've got so many big names in. It's not Susan Sarandon, is it? It's what's she called? Tim Curry, Madeline.
You even got the guy from Spinal Tap.
Yeah, well, yeah. But there is just so many people in it. But I think what it is over here, this, if I remember rightly, this isn't a UK release. Well, it is a region 2, but it's not UK. But we never really got a proper release over here. I think maybe we got the DVD. But yeah, it would have been nice to see that bit more mainstream, really, so that people could see it.
And that song at the end, Heroes, amazing.
Mm, mm,
Out of
yeah.
curiosity, what was your favorite song in it?
What, out of Clue?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Oh,
I
no,
couldn't
no,
tell you.
no. No, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, Rocky Horror, bloody hell! Oh, Jesus. Well, Time Warp's classic, innit?
Oh,
But I like over at Frankenfurter's house, I think it's called. Um, and what's it called? The one where they're on the stage at near the end. Oh, Jesus, it's going to bug me now. But I've got the soundtrack and I do listen to it. But it's well, you see, the thing is that if you've never seen it live, when they openly encourage the audience to sort of get involved. So there's like heckling and all sorts. It's brilliant, but they openly encourage it. And you sort of saying parts of the lines with them and stuff. It's amazing. It's just so much, audience audience participation. You don't see that in many shows. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, it's definitely worth seeing. I mean, to be fair, when you go and watch it, and obviously people make an effort and dress up and stuff, it's the most bizarre situation because you're walking down the street just to go into the theatre, and there's there's definitely some characters out there. Hey, Cal. Cal said the only musicals I like is the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wizard of Oz. They are both classics. Yeah, and I agree with you. The Wizard of Oz and I want to see that. Is it Wonka, the new one?
I have seen it.
But I'd like my favorite by far is obviously the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Johnny Depp's one was all right, but it wasn't a patch on the first one. And then obviously that Wonka, it seems to have good reviews, so I'll give it a go when it comes out on physical media. Luke says, I'd like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they should make a Series 8. I know they won't, but they should. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s another one. I got to about second series and I pretty much stopped. I've got up to Series 5, I think it is, the ones that they released on physical media. But I still need to watch a few more of those, to be fair. One sec.
It's only a cup of tea.
Oh, thanks, mate. I'll finish it up soon anyway.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. But, yeah, that's all.
So what happened to your co-host?
Steve is he's not very well at the minute. I say that he's been in the chat this evening, but he's not feeling great. I think he's got like a headache or something, or his eyes hurting him or something. But I'd said to him, look, I want to jump on and at least. So I'd filmed a video the other day and I was going to put it out, but I've not had a chance to do a thumbnail. So I didn't want to not put anything out this week because I get criticised for not doing too many videos and just sticking to the live. So I thought I'll jump on and maybe do an hour, see how I get on. But we're not done too badly, to be fair, mate. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Yeah. So this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How have you watched all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I thought it lost its fire towards the end. I mean, they had a really good story as they built up to that guy being kind of like a double agent. That was good, but then it just broke my heart when they introduced the other lady and then she gets swallowed up by that black goo. I mean, we didn't. I didn't like the direction it went after that. It just after that it kept building things that just
Yeah.
I mean, we'd had action, then they start bringing in all these different storylines that just felt like seasons from like things they could have put in from like soap operas.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and this is the thing is that when there's only a few series recently that I would say I've watched and thought they've ended it at the right time. A lot of these things, they sort of tend to drag them on until there's literally nothing left of them.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld has, for years, he was criticized because he stopped his show
Yeah.
when he did,
Yeah.
but he said he wanted to stop it when it still had life in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Friends did not learn that lesson. And look what happened in the last season.
I mean, to be honest with you, Friends is one that I always found funny growing up. I always enjoyed it. I wouldn't really go down that route when I'm criticizing them. What I'm talking about is things like Lost,
Oh
um,
yeah.
Heroes
We
to a degree, because I liked Heroes, and it just went on a bit too long. There's many other ones I'd put in that same category, to be honest. But like if you look at, I think some of them now, I think some of them are finishing at the right time. I know, is it Stranger Things that are doing a series 5, and then that's the
yes.
last one?
But
Um, go on.
but now there's this controversy because the one actor one is having a he voiced opinion on the Islam and all that stuff. So the fans want to boycott season 5 because of his views
No,
on that.
not at all. Not at all. It's I don't. I think the thing is that is such a strong show that people are going to watch it regardless. You'll have a few people that'll have that opinion, and I don't know what he said, so I can't comment on it. But I'm not going to boycott a program that I've put 4 seasons worth of effort into because someone's
I
got an opinion on something. I'm not going to do it, mate.
I agree, and don't get me wrong, I did enjoy Friends, but I'm just saying it went at least one season too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, finishing on a 9 series, it just drive me
11
mad. 11, sorry. Yeah, yeah. But was it 11? 11
or
series. Yeah,
10 or 10.
I'm sure it's 10 series. I'm gonna have to check that now. I'm sure it's 10 series. Yeah, 10 series. If it had finished on 9 and it was an odd number, I'd have gone mad. But no, I mean, I think we're talking like the Umbrella Academy. They've got another series in them. The last one wasn't too great, or the second one wasn't too great. The third one was good. I forget which one now, but I think maybe getting one more series out of it is decent. I know Luke said about Superman and Lois series 4. Series 4, as far as I'm aware, is the last one. And I think what they're doing here is just making sure that these shows don't run. And that's the other one as well. Cobra Kai. So series 6, is it? That's the last one. You know, they're not just going to keep churning these things out. They've got a story to tell, and I think they're ending them at the right time. Take Money Heist as an example. That is how you end a series, and it didn't go on too long. Um, there's a few out there that have been really good, but I think they're not in a position now where they're going to run. Like, I don't know if we'd see like another Walking Dead where it's like 11 series or whatever. Um, Again, I think they're going to cut them off at around 4 or 5, 5 or 6. Kel says Stranger Things had me hooked. From episode 1, it's nice to see the characters grow, and it gets better. That's the other thing that's finishing this year as well, isn't it? Young Sheldon. Because I mean, he's not young anymore, but that's another one that they're sort of stopping at this year. Um, Mean gets what's that mean? I'm not sure what that is. Kello, I'm going to ask you. I take it you've figured out that they've released a 4K of 7 now, because I know you were after one for a while. Although it does look expensive, to be fair. Either they're releasing it or it's been released already this Christmas. It's gone.
So what's your opinion on the theory that they are going to release a box set of Stranger Things after season 5 wraps?
Do you know what, mate? I'd be absolutely over the moon. I have the bootlegs of series 1 to 4. It baffles me. It honestly baffles me because I I'll tell you. Take an example. I've got Stranger Things and I've got Brassic, which is a British TV show. Um, on bootleg. Now the thing is a bit like a couple of people that I know. You know, if there is a physical version that comes out, I will 100% buy it. I also have the subscription services that these things are on, and I pay for them as well. But it drives me insane that something as big as Stranger Things hasn't had a UK or European, whichever way you want to put it. Because I know there was I think maybe the first and second series were released in the US. Um, a physical version of these things coming out. It just it blows my mind because it's such a big program. Like the merchandise is through the roof. So why aren't they capitalizing on that by having? I mean, if this box set comes out and it's 200 quid for it, I'll buy it. I don't care. I'll buy it because it is such a good program that I want to have it in my collection. If it's steel books, I don't care what it is, so long as it's physical media. If they bring it out, I would be astounded because the other thing is that especially for the particular streaming service that it's on, it's one of their biggest hitters. So having that as an alternate and having people being able to buy the physical media of it might take away from their subscriptions. But sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, whatever we are now, I think it's about time they released it. To be fair.
Well, I think the reason why they did not release it is because they realized that that's what people are watching most on their
Yeah.
service, and that if they do give us physical releases, their viewer count would drop significantly, and people will not be watching their service barely at all. I mean, even for a while, people were calling The Mandalorian the Stranger Things of Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, and I've said this a few times on the show when we've spoke. For me, like there should be a time bar on it. So, if they're going to bring out similar to what they have been doing with like Cobra Kai and stuff like that. Now, Cobra Kai in the UK, we got series 1, 2, possibly 3. Yeah, series 1, 2, and 3 we got on Blu-ray. 4 and 5 have only come out on DVD. But the thing is that they've still come out. And what they've tended to do is bring it out when the new series is released. So we might even be up to 7 actually on Cobra Kai coming up. Anyway, or a year afterwards, they've brought it out. But if they did that with all of them, bit like releasing movies at the cinemas, back in the day, you were talking, I think I remember rightly, it was a year after it was released, it would come out on physical media, and then 3 years. It was 3 years before it came out on TV. So that's where you tend to find it the way that it worked. But if they want to maximize what they get out of Stranger Things, then bring out 1, 2, 3, and 4 when number 5 releases, and just get people buying that media while the thing's still fresh in their mind. Yeah, let's say Dave says Cobra Kai physical release does my head in that we've only got DVD releases for the last 2. Exactly. Dave, I've had this conversation before about I watch a program called Inside Number 9, which is a BBC program, and the first 4 series were brought out in Blu-ray, and the next 4 series were only brought out in DVD. So it messes my collection up. I've got them on the shelf there, and I can see some of them are this high and some of them are this high. It just drives me insane. But it's the same with Cobra Kai. It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, cheaper discs to buy, I would imagine. But
I know a way that Netflix could make some serious money, and it would give the fans something really great. Is they could do like they could release the episodes on into the cinema.
Yeah.
But other than that, here's a question for you. What film that you own on physical release do you wish you would have been able to see in the cinema that you never got a chance to?
Do you know what? There's a few. So there's a few that I'd love to see again in the cinema, and there's a few that I'd love to have seen in the cinema, and things like E.T. I'd love to have seen that in the cinema because that was released, I think, the year I was born, so that didn't happen. The original Star Wars. Now I know there's been opportunities to go and watch that every so often, and they'll bring them on the cinemas. But I'd love to have gone and seen the original Star Wars at the cinema. Just trying to think if there's anything. Back to the Future would have been another one. I don't remember seeing the first one. I especially didn't see the first one at the cinema. I remember seeing Batman. I'm sure I did. But yeah, there's a few. There's a bit of the cinematic ones from back in the day. I would love to have seen in the cinema. What else was there? I'll tell you what would have been a good one for me to see in the cinema, and it's not a popular movie. Is Gravity? Gravity, I think it's calling it. The one with Sandra Bullock in.
Yeah. George
love
Clooney.
I'd love to have seen that in like an IMAX because it's set up. It's set up for that. I mean, like I say, I know every so often, like these like Star Wars and stuff like that, they'll run them at the cinemas, but I never get a chance to go and see them. Yeah, that would be a good one to see in the cinema. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Heat in the Cinema, Defo, and Seven. How about yourself? What would you like to have seen in the cinema?
I'd say probably Annie and Ferngully.
Okay, he's okay. So why Ferngully then?
To hear Tim Curry's booming voice as
Okay,
a villain,
yeah, I get it now.
and to hear Robin Williams as Bate.
Yeah. See, Robin Williams is my all-time favorite actor. Dave, I saw just to slightly go off topic. I saw Jurassic Park in the cinemas. That was immense. I mean, I was young. Don't get me wrong, but I remember it. Series 6 is due for release in September 2024. But I think if I remember rightly, Luke, I think if I was watching a program a video the other day that was going on about series that are ending this year, and ending this year, and Cobra Kai was one of them. I think it's run its course, to be honest with you. Dave said, "Did Monkey see Twister in the cinemas?" That was another one I saw at the cinemas. Actually, you ever seen Twister?
I well, here no, but I own well, remember I told you and your co-host how many copies I have of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I will say, if I would have, I don't think I could have. I don't think I'd be hearing as well as I do that now, because me, I probably would have been seeing it since day one to the end of the release, and then I'd be like, "Say again, I can't hear you."
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so at the time when that movie came out, that was around the time I was going to the cinemas quite a lot, and it was definitely an experience seeing that movie. Just having the surround sounds, all the speakers kicking in. But is it a remake or a second one they're doing?
They're doing a sequel, but I think it's too late. I mean, if Bill Paxton was still alive, I think they could have gone away with it, but it was lightning in a bottle. You can't get the same. It's like when they try to do a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, expecting to get the same amount of. That was the James Franco disaster.
That's true. Well, yeah. Well, I think what I'm going to do, mate, is I think I'm going to probably wrap it up here because I've got some tea to eat, and we're well over an hour and a half now. So I'm glad that you've come on, buddy, because it's really helped me get through the last hour and a half. And to the chat, thank you for being so interactive tonight. Hopefully, I've got through a lot of the comments that was said. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not seen this before. Welcome to anybody that's new. Thank you so much, guys. I will try and get a video out.
And if I may say to your co-host, if he's still in the chat,
Yeah.
I hope you get better soon
Oh,
and
don't worry.
happy collecting on your Funko journey. May it
Yes.
prosper, and may you get a
No.
bigger house to
No.
fill it all.
I don't need any more.
I was
really
talking
don't,
about
honestly.
him. I was talking about him.
All right, him. No, he's a novice when it comes to collecting his Funkos. I'm telling you, he's not got it as bad as me at the minute.
Oh,
But yeah, he's quite good with what he collects, and he usually gets rid of something when he gets something. So he's not doing too badly. But it's
well,
quite easy to fall down that rabbit hole of Funko collecting. So
well, I
we'll try
hope
and get
you
some.
have a good tea, and
Yeah, thank you, matey.
bye.
Oh, no worries, man. Again, guys, thank you so much for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the chat. Thank you for Monkey for coming on, mate. I really appreciate that. I'm going to try and get a video out if I can. Some of it might be duplicating what I've said, so I apologise for that. But thank you very much, guys. Have a great time. Hopefully, we'll see you next week with Steve. Sorry, couldn't chat tonight. Was lurking. No worries, Ali. Thank you for being there. I really appreciate the participation tonight from everybody. Take care, everyone. Bye.